I will go to work 20 hours out of the day to make sure that my family is fed. But there is a dichotomy. There is a balance, right? And the thing that we have to do is we have to step back and say, do I really need to do that? Or can I maybe have a better line of communication with my wife and get better alignment with our expenses and our finances? So maybe neither she nor I have to do that, because what's really being spent here, it's the cost of connection, and it's the cost of time, and it's the cost of memories and all these different things. When we get to our deathbed in our 50s and our kids are moving out, we're like, oh my God, what was it all for? For all my guys out there who are absolutely grinding, right? You're killing yourself with the hours. You know, you're working 50, 60, 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week, right? And we're working our tails off. Maybe we're in our 30s, maybe we're in our 40s, but we're sacrificing so much to provide. And while that's noble, it also comes with a cost. And I'll tell you, today's podcast is all about, as you guys know, for the entire month of July, I turned 50 this past month. And what I've been doing is I've been doing these solo shows in July around the advice that I would give to myself in my 30s, because to be honest, like, I made all these crazy rookie mistakes in my 30s. And if I could give myself some advice, and if I could tap myself on my really thick skull, I would have done things a little bit differently. And what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm sharing this very, very openly, because I know that there are men out there who are knuckleheads just like me, but they're super driven, and they want to make a difference. They want to provide. They want to give their kids things that they didn't have growing up, and they're out there just slaying it. They're working insane hours. They're working in jobs that they absolutely hate. And as you know, I'm doing these shows, and my first show on July 4th was all about marriage and the advice that I would give myself before I got married, because I was terrified of it. And then the second show on July 11th was all about the advice I would give myself if I could go back and give myself advice before I was a parent, and all the things that I've learned there. And today I'm giving myself advice and you advice on the knucklehead mistakes that I've made over the years, on how hard I've worked and how that's come at a cost. And this really was an inspiration. I don't know if you guys have seen this video. I'll have it in the show notes for you, but it's only about a 70-second video, and it's Tom Brady breaking down, talking about how much his dad meant to him, and his dad was a hero in his life, and how he knows deep down that he wasn't the dad that his dad was to him, and that while he was the best quarterback of all time, and he's broken records and has 7 Super Bowl rings, no one can even come close to this guy. It has come at a very dear cost to him. And you can see it in his eyes when he talks about it in this video, about the things that have come at a cost and the time that he's had to sacrifice, and, maybe even wondering if it was all worth it. And that's what today's podcast is all about. It's about wealth and it's about health, but it's really about the time, right? The time is the one thing that we all have in common as dads, as human beings. We all have 24 hours in a day. I think it's, 84,000 seconds or something like that. I can't remember, but we all have the same amount of time. Many of us have different amounts in the bank. We have different assets. We have different debts. We have all these different things. But there's one thing that we have in common as human beings and as men, and that is we have 24 hours in a day, and we only have so much time with our wives and kids. So let me introduce myself here real quick. For those of you guys who are new to this show, my name is Larry Hagner. I am the host and the founder of this podcast. It's been around for a decade, the Dad Edge podcast. I am the founder of the Dad Edge Alliance, which is our mastermind for our W-2 guys, our career guys out there. That is our elite brotherhood where men can come and learn, the skills around connecting more with their kids and being more patient with their kids. They can learn skills around how to create better communication with their wife, how to lead their wife, and how to build more intimacy, more connection, even more physical connection. We also talk about mental health a lot. We give you the tools and the resources around the mindset, around proper mental health, good physical, solid physical body as well. And what we're talking about today, which is finances. Those are the 5 things that we help men with in that brotherhood. I'm also the founder of the Dad Edge Boardroom that's been around for 7 years as well. And that is for our business owners. You have to be a full-time business owner to be a part of that group. And what we do is we help men in that group continue to grow and scale their businesses while they continue to lead and cultivate the marriage and the connection with their kids that they truly want. So we have those two different programs. So I'm the founder of all three of these things. And I'll tell you, I am also a client. I'm also a student, and I'm also a learner. And man, I wish I would have had some of this stuff figured out before I was a father, because I was that guy who spent a ton of time at work. I spent 18 years in the medical device industry in surgical sales, and I was on the road constantly. You know, they call that career. And when you're at my level, when I left the industry, executive level management, the golden handcuffs, where you make a good living, you provide a good livelihood, but your family really doesn't know you, and they not only don't know you, but you don't get the time that you truly want. You know, some of the loneliest dinners that I was ever at, some of the fanciest dinners I was ever at, I was surrounded by coworkers that I could tell desperately just wanted to be home with their families. And instead they were on the road 4 or 5 days out of the week. And there was a tremendous sacrifice for that hefty salary and the expenses that they got to, expenses meaning like our expense accounts. You know, we got to pay for, you know, our customers, you know, dinners and things like that. And, you know, we had, you know, our travel was paid for, and we had to travel for business and that kind of thing. But man, it all came at a huge cost, and it was a huge cost of time, and it was absolutely draining. I remember when I was really in the heat of it, when I was working, when all my kids were little, and I was gone usually Sunday through Thursday, almost every single week on the road. And I was working with my reps. And I remember being in airports, and I would just be like, I was miserable. Yes, I was making good money, but I was miserable. If someone tells you that money can buy you happiness, that is not true. Not true at all. I was making great money. And what I can tell you is that it did not buy me any happiness. It did not buy the love of my children. It did not buy the affection of my wife. In fact, it did the opposite. The more I was gone, the more that I was not there, the more disconnected that I was. Now, I'm not saying don't work hard, and there's not a lot of nobility for guys who are out there working their tails off. There is, but there's got to be a balance. And if I could give myself any advice back then, it would be, do not sacrifice so much time chasing income when the most important, most valuable asset that you have is the time with your kids when they're little, because that time will slip through your fingers like sand on a beach. And I'm not even kidding. It will slip by and you're like, oh my God, I can't even believe it's gone already. But here's kind of some crazy statistics for you guys as well. Just think about this. 37% of divorces cite financial disagreements as the key driver in divorce. And money fights, talk about money arguments, they show up in nearly 40 to 50% of all marital arguments. So pretty much half of our arguments are over money in the family, if you can believe that. And over half of couples are saying that finances will predict their divorce. There's another statistic that's really uncomfortable. There's something out there called financial infidelity, which means 27% of couples, or partners, I should say, admit to secretly spending, and 10% say it will lead directly to divorce. So think about that. Like almost 3 out of 10 people, 3 out of 10 couples are secretly spending money that the other person doesn't know about. So, and then there's also money personalities, right? That definitely plays a huge factor. A lot of times with couples, there's one saver and there's one spender. And this mismatched style is usually like oil and water. So these differences aren't necessarily personality quirks. They're money personalities, and they can really wreak havoc on even the strongest marriages out there. So they can really, really be tough. But the other thing is this. So obviously, just those are the dollars, right? And those are the statistics. And those are the things that it's good for us to know that impact us. But here is where we sacrifice time, right? And especially men, high driven, go-getter men, that just want to go out and make things happen. I see you, man. I hear you. And guess what? I am one of you as well. We are highly driven. And sometimes if we don't watch it, if we don't pump the brakes, we unfortunately leave our family in the dust. And the thing is we take a lot of pride in making things happen and providing for our families. And we're grinding. Like, I can't even tell you, you go on social media and, if you make a post out there, that's triggering around men and how much they work. Guys will wear a badge of honor. Well, I grind 90 hours a week. I barely see my kids. I only see my kids for a few minutes before they go to bed. And it's worn almost like a badge of honor. Like, I will do whatever it takes to put food on the table. And I'll tell you, that is honorable. That is honorable. Because guess what? Come hell or high water, I will do the same thing. I will do the same thing if it's a survival type of situation. If we're like on the cusp of losing our house or we can't afford food, yeah, I will go to work 20 hours out of the day to make sure that my family is fed. Absolutely. But there is a dichotomy. There is a balance, right? And the thing that we have to do is we have to step back and say, do I really need to do that? Or can I maybe have a better line of communication with my wife and get better alignment with our expenses and our finances? So maybe neither she nor I have to do that, because what's really being spent here, it's the cost of connection. It's the cost of time, and it's the cost of memories and all these different things. When we get to our deathbed in our 50s and our kids are moving out, we're like, oh my God, what was it all for? I don't even remember. Check out this video that Tom Brady was talking about. The guy was in the spotlight, literally the best football player, the best quarterback in human history. And the man is harboring regrets that he didn't spend enough time with his children like his dad did with him. And he points to his dad as the man who is his hero, right? Because that man poured so much into Tom, and he was there for him, and he probably made him somewhat for who he is, right? And Tom is forever grateful. It brings a tear to his eye thinking about his dad, talking about his dad. It also brings a tear to his eye knowing what he sacrificed to get to where he's at. Now, that's not to say that Tom's a bad person. That's not to say that guys who work really hard are bad people. No. But what that really means is we could take a good look in the mirror and say, wait a second, time out. Can I stop grinding here for a moment? Can I stop pulling so many hours? Do I have to pull this many hours? Or can I do something different here? Can I do something different? What is the ROI here? The other thing is too, we have to be really, really cautious and careful around even our energy around this. And this is where wealth and health really walk hand in hand. And what I mean by that is we can go out and I think anybody in this day and age, believe it or not, if we work hard enough, anybody could make $1 million a year. We can do it. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care if you're blue collar. I don't care if you're sweeping floors. I don't care if you're white collar and your time is not your own and you're grinding in the office in your cubicle. There are things that we can do to create passive revenue streams that will make us millions of dollars. We can invest in real estate. We can invest in multifamily deals. We can invest in crypto and the stock market. We can do all kinds of different things. We can write books. We can create YouTube channels. We can do all kinds of things now, even online, that we never have before in human history. We can actually leverage time as one of our greatest wealth builders, right? We can do all kinds of different things. So we're not pigeonholed into this one thing that we can only do, and that's it, even if that's the story that we tell ourselves. We live in a day and age now that we can do just about almost anything we want and just completely and totally shift careers. My college professor, my college advisor, I'm friends with him on Facebook. I've been friends with him ever since I graduated in 1999 from college. Love this guy. He just announced his retirement. And I was like, oh, wow, he's retiring. He's I think he's 60. And he's actually not retiring. He's going into real estate. And he literally, like, the day after he announced that he was retiring, he was like, hey, good news, career change. I'm going into real estate. And then he had this whole thing, like, literally you could tell it's been planned for a while, but he completely shifted gears and did something else. There was a book publisher that I went through back in 2022, and unfortunately his public publishing agency went bankrupt, and I was in the process of publishing Pursuit of Legendary Fatherhood, which, by the way, I'm going to be talking about here in a second. His publishing agency went bankrupt because one of the channels for royalties and book sales weren't paying him. So unfortunately, he couldn't pay his authors, so he went bankrupt. And then he shifted from being a publisher, and he went back to school and got his accounting degree and then became a CPA and now owns a CPA firm. I mean, you talk about a total shift in industry, like holy cow, like unbelievable. It's just the moves that people make. I used to have a boss that I used to work for in pharmaceutical sales, and she had a business degree. She had a master's in business. And then after, I think it was 15 years in pharmaceutical sales, she had enough. And she went back and got her nursing degree and became a nurse. So it's crazy, like the things that we can do and we can shift. And I know I'm going on a tirade here, but what I'm basically saying here, there are options for us. A lot of times what we do is we feel trapped in that thing that we do. It's like, I only know how to do this one thing, so it's the only thing I know how to do. And that's not the case. We can do many different things. I mean, I got a degree in health management with a minor in nutrition because I wanted to be a trainer for pro athletes. And I ended up in pharmaceutical sales, and then I ended up in medical device sales. And then I became an author and a podcast host. And then I got 2 coaching certifications, and now I'm a coach for men, and I love it. I never would have thought in a million years in college that this is what I'd be doing, but it is what I'm doing. And for those of you who don't know too, I also invest in real estate as well. I have clients who are real estate investors. We go in on deals together, and there's all kinds of just opportunities out there that we can invest into and make passive revenue if we really, really want to. We just have to be really, really smart about it. So I'm sharing all this with you because if you're anything like I was in my 30s and even my 40s, I wore that badge of honor of like, I'm just grinding and grinding and grinding. Look how hard I'm working. Look how hard I'm working. I'm sacrificing all this time with my kids and my wife. Isn't that awesome? Like, and all the while it didn't sit well with me. It actually sat really, really poorly with me. But I shared it as if I was working my butt off and it was noble. And I can tell you, it didn't serve me. It didn't serve my wife, and it didn't serve my kids. It definitely didn't give me any connection points with my kids, which that's actually what I was truly after. That's really why I was working so hard. It was because I wanted to provide means and experiences and memories for my kids. It's kind of like the person that sacrifices their health for their entire life because they want to build their wealth. And then as soon as they lose their health, they have to sacrifice all their wealth to buy back all their health to get healthy again. So if we have a balanced outlook on this, and we are disciplined to operating with time with our kids and time in the workforce and using our time more wisely, the advice I would have given myself is, dude, pump the brakes, man. What you're doing is you're grinding yourself out. You're going to burn out. You're not going to be good for your wife. You're not going to be good for your children. You're not going to be even good for yourself. People aren't even going to really like being around you, like all burnt out, overwhelmed, and stressed out, unhealthy. Your mental health is not good. Physical health is not good. Who really wants to be around that? And me, myself, carrying that, I didn't even want to be around me. So something has to change, right? And the advice that I would give myself is, dude, stop doing that to yourself. Instead, try to do something that you love. Try to do something that brings you to life, that brings you joy. And that's when I started Dad Edge on the side back in 2015. It was just a podcast, just a hobby, right? It was just something that was therapeutic for me, still is to this day. I still do it for the exact same reasons. And that is to help myself, to help other men out there, to be the guy who's the student on this microphone. I'm not the guru. I know a thing or two, and I definitely coach men and I help men and I teach men things that they don't know, that I didn't know when I was in their shoes. But I sure as heck don't know everything. I'm still learning, and I will learn until like they bury me 6 feet under. And that's just who I am. The cool thing about being on the microphone though, is I get to share this information with you guys. So for all my guys who are out there grinding, what I would ask you to do is take pause, take discernment. What is this costing you? What is this type of life costing you? What is this type of grind costing you? Is it worth it to you? Is it something that you could do different? Because when you look at your kids and you look at your time and it's going to go by in a blink of an eye, just like that, what do we have to show for it? We might have a lot of money in the bank. We might have worked our tail off to make ends meet, but did we ever have connection that we truly wanted? Did we ever make the memories that we truly wanted? And that is my message to you guys today. That's the advice I would have given myself way back when. So hopefully today was helpful for you. A couple of resources for you guys that I have for you in the show today, which is if you guys go to thedadedge.com/Friday 217 for this show. Again, thedadedge.com/Friday 217 for this show. What I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to have a link to this video, with Tom Brady. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Go to the show notes and check it out. It's about 70 seconds long, and it will definitely pull on your heartstrings. And I think for me, when I watched it 3 times, and I was like, it's just such this powerful reminder to really, really embrace, this time that we have, this precious time that we have with our kids, this precious time we have with our wives, because it's fleeting. It really, really is. And I'll tell you, if you lost your job, I was told this not too terribly long ago, if you lost your job tomorrow, your position would probably be filled next week. But if you lost your life, your family would not know what to do. Your kids wouldn't know what to do. And you would have probably have wanted to leave more solid memories with them and more connection points with them, right? And that's what today's show is all about. It's about that pause. It's about that discernment. So that's what I have for you today. If you're a guy who's a 9-to-5er who's grinding, like, listen, and you need that balance, you need that tribe. Like I was saying, we've got the alliance for you guys who are career guys, who are W-2 guys. It's an incredible brotherhood that's been around for 9 years. You guys will hear me talk about it all the time. You hear me talk about it all the time because I love it so much, and I love the guys in there so much. We've helped over 4,000 men over the past 9 years come through the program. And what do we do in there? We teach men all of these skills that, quite frankly, we don't learn. We teach them skills around marriage and connection and intimacy. We teach them skills around how to be that calm, patient leader with their kids, how to have more financial mastery. We teach them that too. How to have better physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. We do all of those things in the Alliance. For all my business owners out there, for all you grinders out there who are just like me, the entrepreneurs, the ones who are there's a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of mental bandwidth that goes into running a business, running a team, creating vision and culture, and even creating things that haven't even happened yet, products or services or whatever it is. It takes a lot of mental bandwidth to do that. That's why 7 years ago, we created the Dad Edge Boardroom for all of our business owners out there, because that's exactly what we help you do. We actually help you continue to grow and scale your business while not sacrificing your mental and physical health, your marriage, and the time with your kids, because you can actually have all of those things if done right. And that's exactly what we teach. And we've got a thriving elite brotherhood in the Boardroom. You'll find both paths if you go to thedadedge.com/mastermind for that. But I'll also have a link in the show notes for you, like I said, along with the video that Tom Brady posted, which is, in my personal opinion, probably Tom Brady has a lot of highlights out there. If you Google like best passes and all these crazy things he's done, in my mind, this is my favorite. This is the top of the list, because you get to see Tom Brady for the human being that he is, the man that he is, the dad that he is, the dad that he wanted to be. And I can guarantee, I bet you that man right now is making up time. And what I'll tell you, just a spoiler alert, we're in conversations right now with his team to get him on the podcast. I would love more than anything to have Tom on the show. So if you know Tom, send him this and let him know that we've been in contact with his team, and they've been in contact with us. They're talking back to us. We're trying to find a date. It's hard to nail him down, but Tom, I want you on the Dad Edge, brother. I want you on this show. I want that heart. I want to hear you talk about this topic, because, brother, you have touched the hearts of men when you released that video. That is my battle cry for you, brother. That is my invitation for you to come on this podcast and share this wisdom with these other men here. That is my ask of you, Mr. Tom Brady. So there you go, guys. All the links in the show notes, like I said, go to thedadedge.com/Friday217 for this show. Until then, gentlemen, go out, live legendary. Take care.